Hello and welcome. My name is John Strand. I would like to take a few moments and I would like to invite you to check out our new class, Security for MSPs. Now, this particular class is interesting for a couple of reasons. One, it's this mix of doing a canned class that's on demand. You can access it any time for a subscription for you and the people on your team, but it's also mixed in with really cool live interaction associated with it as well. Let me explain. So first up, the interface. What exactly do we cover in security for MSPs? Well, short answer is a lot. There's a lot of information in here. We have over 273 different topics that we cover in the core class that we are releasing to the MSP community, which I strongly think is a very, very good deal for getting world-class security training that would normally cost thousands of dollars. Being able to do that for $39 a month. I think that that's key. And one of the reasons why is MSPs are truly on the front lines of computer security and they need as much help as they possibly can. So let's actually get to it and I'll show you some of the things that we have. All right, so this is the interface. As you can see, we've got a table of contents that goes through absolutely everything from using incident response tools, dealing with ransomware, getting started with network level analysis and live Windows analysis, live Linux analysis. We also have some sections that are very, very specific to MSPs, and these mean a tremendous amount to me. One, how do you set up pricing and packaging? Instead of saying security is something that you should do and it's something that you should do for your customers, how do you actually set it up properly so your customers will be willing to buy it so you don't seem like you're just skeevy salesmen trying to sell them more expensive stuff? It's all about how do you establish a community? How do you establish sales messaging? Typing in and pulling in things like insurance. How do you do things like using compliance to let your customers understand that security isn't something nice to have? It's actually something that's key and it's essential. These are the things that make this different for this class instead of just a standard security class. As you can see, we have 9 sections so far. By the way, the reason why there's this many sections is because when we record it, I record it like in a whole bunch of different quarter sections that you can digest in 4-hour blocks. So section 1 is a 4-hour block. Section 2 is another 4-hour block. Getting started BHIS, MSP SOC analyst. So you think you're compromised with ransomware. What can you actually do now? How do you deal with TCP/IP? We get into section 3. We talk about Linux. There's so many reasons why today's analysts absolutely have to have a fundamental, solid understanding of Linux as an operating system. And we make that core to what we're doing here. If we get into section 4, we talk about Windows, a whole bunch about Windows. Talk about tools like Deep Blue CLI, utilizing PowerShell, Deep White CLI. We have labs, so many labs. This particular course in and of itself, if I go to GitHub, I have a whole bunch of my labs are actually up there. If I go to GitHub, Strand.js, we have over 27 labs in these 2 classes that are set up. There's just so much hands-on and so many different things for people to learn. If you look at it, we go memory analysis, TCP dump, web log review, Windows command line, Wireshark, Rita, Nessus, Elastic Agent, Elk in the cloud, App Locker, Blue Spawn, network analysis. Oh my gosh. And there's this funny section here, cyber deception and active defense. That's going to be coming up here soon. When we get into section 5, we're moving into how do you actually work with things like logs? How do you do adversarial emulation to make sure that you're capturing the correct logs? And more importantly, how do you do it in a cost-effective manner? Login anomalies using logon tracer, event logging, percentage of different logs and alerts based on the number of logs and the amount of logs that you're pulling in, group policy, sysmon, just a lot there. Section 6, we get into compliance and the critical controls. Now, the critical controls become this Rosetta Stone that can be applied to almost every single one of your customers as a driver for needing good security practices. So we talk about that in depth. We talk about AV and how attackers tend to bypass antivirus engines. Talk about a number of different tools like Unicorn, App Locker, how we shut down the vast majority of attacks. Once we get into section 7, we talk about network traffic again. This time we're talking about network traffic from the perspective of how do you take those network logs and then actually get actionable intelligence for your incident response capabilities or for your detective capabilities at your customers as well. Section 8, we move on to threat emulation. How do you interact with your endpoint EDR products? How do you deal with advanced endpoint protection? We talk about Atomic, Red Team, Bloodhound, threat emulation, and how we can use these tools to once again cost effectively identify gaps in your coverage for your customers and for your own team as well. In section 9, we talk again about internet, specifically looking at how can we do internet allow listing, basically trying to reduce the command and control surface available to attackers, and once again doing it in a sane way. So we're not spending a tremendous amount of time and money doing something that your customers are going to have you rip out as soon as you get it implemented in your organization as well. Then we close out at a high level of how you can do vulnerability assessments for your customers, whether it's general vulnerability scanning or application scanning. That's a lot, and it's just the start. We're going to be adding in a whole bunch of additional modules to this class over time, because we want it to be the absolute best security value that you can possibly have for your organization whenever it comes to training. Hands down, I want to make it not even question. So there will be some additional things that we'll be adding in. Oh, about those additional things. In addition to your team, if you choose to go for the straight $39 a month, you get access to all of this training and all of the updates. If you pay $59 a month, you get this Capture the Flag environment. It's from MetaCTF, one of our partners. And this is a full live cyber range where your team members can continue to develop their skills. We have a number of different categories, from binary exploitation, reconnaissance, cryptography, reverse engineering, cyber deception, web exploitation and security assessment, forensics, and other trivia topics that don't fit into those categories. And there's a lot of questions here. And all of these questions come with little hints that you can use to kind of put you in the right direction, just so your people don't get too frustrated trying to set up these particular challenges and working through them. We also have a scoreboard where you can track your team's progress and how well they're doing. So it isn't just something you throw over the fence and your team just runs it and you don't get any feedback. You can get direct feedback where your team is. And my scoreboard is a little bit larger here because I have a lot of people in my area. But wait, there's more. Always wanted my Ron Popeil moment. It also gets your team access to our Antisyphon Discord server for MSPs. We have set up a dedicated MSP area where MSPs can come in and chat and share information with each other and help each other out. This is key because this is part of building a community. It's not just training. It's a community, it's a cyber range, it's a whole bunch of hands-on exercises, and it's a lot more that's going to be added in for a very solid price for you and your team. And finally, as part of this, every quarter, your team will get a chance to sit down and talk with me or a number of the other Antisyphon team members and set up an Ask Me Anything, where we walk through what are the current hacks, what are the current security risks that we are actually seeing and dealing with today. So I strongly hope that you take this opportunity, look over these classes, and I hope that it's a really solid value for your company to up level your security capabilities for your MSP and extend your offerings into something that you can actually leverage and upsell for your customers. Not in a skeevy way, but doing the best that we can to try to provide the best quality we can for our customers everywhere. So thank you so much. My name is John Strand, and I hope to be seeing you soon in our training.